everyone, I'm Regina. Welcome to my channel. I am here to talk about homeschooling curriculum, our low and no cost curriculum that we're using for our 5th grader for ELA and Math. I'm actually really new to YouTube. This is actually my first video. So if you see me looking down at my notes, sorry, haven't figured out how to do it without them, but eventually I'll get there. Maybe I'll get a teleprompter, who knows. But either way, let's jump into this content. So first off, I am, for the 2021-22 school year, this is actually our first full year homeschooling. Last year, I pulled my son, I pulled him out of school. We were doing virtual because I wasn't ready to send him back with the pandemic. So he was doing virtual school and it just was not going well. So November, I pulled him out of school and I started homeschooling him. And I used Khan Academy and I also used some online programs from the ed tech company that I worked for. So I pulled him out, homeschooled him while I was still working full-time from home. So it was kind of a juggling act. We worked on a lot of independent things and fortunately it went okay. This year, fast forward to this school year, we made the decision to homeschool all 3 of our children. So we have my son who is in 5th grade and then my daughter who is in 2nd grade this year and my other daughter who's just starting kindergarten. So it's a busy household. We're all really new to it, but so far the curriculum resources that we're using for him are working for us very well. So that's why I want to share them with you today. I know homeschooling can feel expensive or it can seem like the cost might be prohibitive, and it doesn't have to be. You know, you can find resources that will work for you that don't have to cost a lot of money. So what we're using, our main curriculum that we're using is Khan Academy for Math. That's our main math curriculum. Now, what I love about it, first off, is that it really allows him to work through the content kind of independently. I am a strong believer I actually did teach elementary school for 5 years, and then I worked in the ed tech industry for 10 years after that. I'm just a strong believer in the fact that, like, as children get older, the teacher's role can really transition from, sage on the stage delivering instruction to more of the guide on the side, helping to facilitate learning, but you don't necessarily have to be the one giving every piece of information. And so with Khan Academy, I don't have to teach him many lessons on all these math concepts when Sal Khan does it a whole lot better than I probably would ever do it. So the way we do math is that, like I mentioned, last year we pulled him out. He was actually in 3rd grade last year, but he was ready. He was really ready for 4th grade work. So I started him on the 4th grade math course in Khan Academy and just assigned the whole course and had him working through it. Well, he didn't finish the entire course because we started him in November. So this year I just had him take the assessment. Khan Academy has a little assessment with each of the courses, and I had him take that assessment and to see which areas where he could demonstrate mastery and which areas he still needed to learn for 4th grade before moving on to 5th grade. So right now he's working through those 4th grade concepts, and I just assign them to him each week. I assign him the concepts he'll do for the week, and then when he's done with that, he'll do the 5th grade content. So the way I planned it out is that I looked at our school year. We're gonna do about 40 weeks. I'm still figuring that out, to be honest, but we're definitely doing year round, and we'll do 5 weeks on, 1 week off, with some flexibility in there to take some longer breaks or take additional time. Just looking at how our calendar is pacing out, we'll probably still end up doing about 40 weeks because if we're not doing school and we're not on vacation, might as well be doing school, right? Especially when it doesn't take all day. So I looked at the kind of number of lessons and concepts for the rest of 4th grade stuff that he needs to learn and the 5th grade stuff for him to finish that this year. And I divided that by about 40, and that got me to about 3 lessons. He needs to kind of get about 3 skills per week. And so each week I assign him those 3 skills and actually assign it in such a way that it's specific to the specific day he needs to do it. And so that's how it's set up. So that's another good thing about Khan Academy is that it has, when you create your account, you can create a teacher account. So you have a teacher dashboard, and then you can assign the content to your child. And so I do that for him, and each week he goes in and completes the work. Now, it's not completely like independent. You know, I am obviously overseeing his work, and it's actually pretty simple though, because he can go and work on his math work, and he's doing that. And each day, you know, I chat with him. I just ask him, okay, how did it go? And sometimes the answer is it went great. Sometimes the answer is it did not go so great. Well, if it went great, awesome. He's ready to move on the next day. There isn't anything further we need to do. If it went not so great, then I usually will sit down with him. We'll rewatch the video together. One, just for him to review, but also for me. Because, I mean, I did teach math, you know, at an elementary level. I think I taught fourth grade math. Fourth grade. When I taught fourth grade, I did do math that first year. And so I'm pretty familiar with the concepts, but I want to make sure that I am teaching it to him the way that Khan Academy did, so that I'm not introducing new strategies that are going to be more confusing than helpful. So we'll usually watch the video together, and so I'll get a synopsis of it, and then oftentimes I'll just make up a little problem for him to do, and he'll write that down, and then we'll go back through the video, pausing each step. After they complete a step, then he completes the step on his paper, and so on and so forth until he has the problem down. Once he does that and it looks pretty good, then I'll give him another problem to try on his own. He feels confident there. Then he heads back to Khan Academy to complete the practice set of items they give. They'll give you a new set of items when you retry it, which is great. It's perfect for mastery-based learning, which is what, you know, we're doing, making sure rather than getting a grade for something, it's more about once you're able to demonstrate mastery on this concept, we move to the next one. So it's just a really great tool for that. So I love how it allows him to work independently, get help when he needs it. Obviously on my teacher dashboard, I can always see how he's doing, but we often just do that through our conversations. And he's able to work through and master that content without me having to stand in front of him and sit with him and teach him everything.
Okay, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into what it looks like when you're using Khan Academy. So I'm logged into my account. If you've never used Khan Academy before, it's just khanacademy.org, and you can create an account for free. I recommend creating a teacher account because then you get the teacher dashboard and you're able to assign your student content as you want, and you get to view, you know, how they perform on that content. The parent dashboard, in my opinion, seems like it's more set up to be aligned to like if your kid is using the program like at school and someone else is managing in that way, and the parent dashboard gives you additional insights. So which is why I prefer the teacher dashboard. So you create a teacher, an account as a teacher. You can always go in and see all the courses. You can click around in the courses. You can view the content as much as you want. As you can see, there is a lot here. Over here, these are the different tools you can use. I assign him the content a week at a time. So over here, if I go to manage, this shows you the different assignments he has. And these are all the ones that he's done so far. It's also really nice because you can look in here and see like responses. So if I want to look at this quiz and see how he did on it and what he answered, and I can actually see how he responded. Over here on the side, he did one attempt. He answered 5 questions in that attempt. And I can actually look and click on these questions and see how he did, see what exactly the question was and how he answered. Now, if he got them all right, that's not that big of a deal, right? But if he missed some of them, and let's say he's going to take this quiz again, then I can go in here and look at the questions that he missed, and he and I can sit and talk about those. So it's really nice to have access to this in this way. You can also see scores from assignments, and these are the kids' final scores. So, you know, my son doesn't make 100 on everything every time he does it, but sometimes he'll go in, you know, if he doesn't do well, then he'll go in, we'll review, like I mentioned in the video, like in the other part of the video, we'll go in and talk through it. I'll help him out, talk through the concept, and then he tries it again. So oftentimes he'll end up with 100 by the time we're finished.
In addition to Khan Academy, I did actually purchase the Spectrum Word Problem Workbook for grade 5. And I bought this because one thing that I did notice with Khan Academy is that there aren't a ton of word problems, like problem solving. And I want to make sure that he can translate the math concepts that he's learning and apply those to real world situations and really see kind of where they fit. And so that's why I purchased this book. And I really like it because it's aligned to essentially the different math skills. And so let's say he's learned how to add and subtract fractions. Then I can find the problem solving page in here and assign that to him maybe the following week or a couple weeks later so that he can apply it, but also get kind of that spiraling practice on that concept. So, and the reason why I feel like that's important, like I mentioned, it's, real world application, but also I don't know for sure if we'll homeschool all the way through. He might end up back in public school. Who knows? Who knows how things go? We're enjoying it so far, so I'm not sure if we will, but I want to make sure that either way he's prepared. And even if we homeschool all the way up through 12th grade through graduation, then he's still going to be required to take those college entrance exams. Next up, after math, we are using, in addition to math, we have ELA. So math and ELA, just so you have a little background, those are the subjects we're focusing on now. Like I mentioned, we're just 4 weeks in. We started after Labor Day. And I wanted to get us just like a good rhythm, a good kind of schedule, flow. And so we're just focusing on math and ELA right now. And then I'm planning to start social studies next week, and we'll probably alternate social studies and science. Still figuring that out, just being honest. But I wanted us to get in a really good place with these two before adding more. So with ELA, of course, we have reading, language arts, writing, spelling, so many things within ELA. For reading, we're using a couple of resources. For those main comprehension skills, making sure he understands inferencing or making sure we get main idea and details, we're using Khan Academy for that as well. Now for reading, Khan Academy is a little different from math. With math, you get a video and then you get a set of problems to practice it, and you get another video. So it's set up like that per skill. In reading, it's not quite like that. In reading, there may be like 3 or 4 different skills, like 3 or 4 different video skills that you learn. And then after those, there is one passage where you apply them all. And so I supplement that because I would rather him practice, get the video lesson on the skill. And remember, the video lessons are short, like 5 to 10 minutes. I'd rather him get the video lesson on the skill and then practice that skill. And then the next day, do the next skill, etc. So we do about 2 of those skills per week. That's about what we need to get through the entire grade level this year. And so the way I supplement it is that, let's say it's main idea and details. So he'll watch the video, and usually I'll watch it before I assign it just so I know specifically how they're teaching it to make sure that it aligns with, what I know about that topic, since I did teach ELA for my 5 years. So I'll watch the video. So far, they've been great. It's usually pretty short, kind of just explains the concept. He's a strong reader, by the way, so wanted to throw that in there to help you understand how this works for us. And so then I'll just find some sort of text for him to apply it. So if it's main idea and details for fiction, then I might have him, if we're reading Harry Potter, and that's the book that we're reading right now, like just as a novel that we're reading together, I might say, hey, go to chapter 4, whatever chapter we just finished, and identify the main idea and 3 supporting details. That might be his little assignment to go with that. Or if it's something nonfiction, then I might grab an article online, like a Time for Kids article or something. And then sometimes I'm using a program called Reading Eggs, Reading Express for my 2 younger kids, but it actually goes up to 6th grade for the reading part. And so sometimes I'll look in the teacher guide and it'll tell me which lesson covers that particular skill. And so I can go in and print out one of the printable resources that has practice aligned to that skill. So sometimes I'll use that program too, which I didn't purchase for him, but it's kind of nice that I can use it in that way. So Khan Academy for the main comprehension skills, and then whatever other books and resources we have to kind of help him apply them, and I might just make up and ask him to do it, which provides a great kind of application because he's using it with a real text that, he would read. If it's nonfiction, I'll often we have lots of, science or social studies related books here. We have plenty of books, and then we go to the library frequently, so there's always something for him to use that doesn't end up costing us money. So now, in addition to reading, in addition to comprehension skills, the other part of reading is that my 5th grader does do silent reading every day, at least 20 minutes, We often will just set a timer, and that's kind of how they start the day, is with silent reading. For that, he just reads whatever he wants. I started to like have him write like a little summary of what he read, but I changed my mind. I just decided I want that reading to be purely for pleasure, no need to like do really anything academic with it. So that when they just record on he just records on a reading log when he's done. And so he's getting, you know, some intense reading each day. And then another thing that we do for reading is vocabulary. I just want him to continue to grow his vocabulary. So I'll choose 4 or 5 words each week. I actually just started this week. 4 or 5 words that he is to define. He's to make a flashcard with them using the Frayer model, and study those. And we'll do a little quiz on Friday, and maybe like at the end of the 5 weeks, we might do some sort of unit quiz. So right now I pull those words from Harry Potter just because it just has we're on book 4, The Goblet of Fire. There are just lots of words in it, lots of really nice words that I probably learned more in high school, but there are lots of them in there. So it's just a great place to start. I think once we're done with that book, I'll probably look up a vocabulary list for 5th and 6th grade and maybe pull some from those for him to learn. But I just wanted to do 4 or 5 just so that it's not so many that he can't really engage with him. I remember when I was in high school doing vocabulary, and we had like 10 or 15 words each week that we had to learn, and it was just kind of memorizing for the quiz. And then that was it because it was just too many. So I wanted to keep it a smaller list, and so that these are words he can actually begin adding to his vocabulary when he writes and when he speaks. So that's what we're doing with that. So spelling. Spelling is another topic in that ELA realm. I'm not doing spelling with him. I'm doing it with my daughter, but not with my son. The reason why is because like spelling is something that you do up until about like 6th grade. You do it in elementary school, and then you don't anymore, right? But I was looking at some spelling lists. Like I was looking at some different spelling resources and trying to figure out kind of where to start with him on spelling. And I, was asking him some of the words, and he knew how to spell them. So I went all the way to the end of 6th grade and was looking at some of those lists and asked him how to spell the words, and he knew them. So it seems like not that he knew how to spell every single word in the book. Obviously, I didn't ask him every single word in the spelling book that I was looking at. But based on that, it doesn't seem like spelling is something that we need to be spending our time on. He's a really good speller. He's a good enough speller that it's not worth me teaching him spelling rules, etc. Because it's probably because he reads a lot, and he's a strong reader. Oftentimes that translates. So spelling we're not doing. And then language arts and writing. So I started out with a workbook for language arts, a workbook for writing, and we were doing lessons from both, and it was just kind of a lot, and some of it was crossover. So I decided as we were looking at those language arts lessons, they were pretty easy for him. And I'm learning, and I'm thinking back to when I was in school too, and I was teaching. Students who read quite a bit and are just familiar with text and formal written English and things like that don't always need as much grammar instruction because it's just part of how we speak. It's, normal syntax, and it was just kind of naming rules for things that he already knew to do. So I decided to stop doing the language arts lessons and just focus on writing. We're using a Spectrum workbook for writing. I downloaded the PDF. I bought the PDF version and downloaded it and just printed it out and put it in this binder. And it's just, I like it because with writing, I worry that I needed something to kind of guide me through specific lessons. So he hit on the different types of writing he needed to do and taught him how to do it. And these workbooks are great because they're all, separated into lessons and ordered. I might put a little screenshot on the screen so you guys can actually see it more up close. And so I have him work through these, but each topic has a little mini lesson, and then it has an activity for him to do. So first he works up to doing a personal narrative, and then writing a story, and then writing to inform, the different types of writing there. And so I'm thinking that as we work through these activities, then as we're doing revising and editing of his writing pieces, then that's where we can work in some of the grammar and some of the language arts stuff that he may not know, because it'll be evidenced in his writing. And then I can pull in some of those grammar and language arts lessons that might need to be taught because we've noticed a deficiency there. So I mean, the purpose of learning grammar is so that you can be a good writer in general. I mean, I guess, and a good speaker. But so when we notice those areas where he needs it, that's when I'll teach it. So with all of that being said, the cost of his curriculum then this year, of course, Khan Academy is 100% free. It's a nonprofit, but you know, of course, you can donate if you're able to. I definitely recommend it just because it keeps it free if, you know, if those who can afford to do donate a couple of dollars. But you're in no way obligated to. It is 100% free and it's awesome. And then for the workbooks, this one I believe was $8.99 on Amazon. And then the writing workbook, I believe this one was like $10.49. But I got the PDF, the download, which was cheaper, was only $8.99. Now, I did end up printing it all out on my printer, but the nice thing about getting the PDF is that you still have it once you've, you know, used it with one kid, so you can use it for subsequent kids for free. So that's always a nice bonus. But I did get this one just because I don't know, I wanted to see if I liked the workbook or the PDF. And then the language arts workbook is also in a binder, and that one was also, I believe, $8.99. So the grand total of his curriculum was like $27 for the year. And like I said, this is ELA and Math, still working on science and social studies, but not bad in my opinion. And like I said, I didn't just get it because it's like cheap. It's just what I ended up getting that I felt like was gonna work for him so that he masters the concepts he needs to master to be, you know, an effective student and be ready for future grades, future content, and, you know, the future. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on is it sounds like, you know, a lot of moving pieces, right? When we talk about the math, the problem solving, with the ELA and finding a reading activity for him to do to align, it's not as much as you think. Like, I do plan like each week. I sit down and look in Khan Academy, look and see what he's completed so far, and then assign the lessons for the next week. And I do the same with the reading. And what I do is I just make him a checklist. I go into like Microsoft Word or actually Google Docs. I don't remember which one I use. But I just make him a little checklist. And so it shows what he's to do each day. And then anything that is a worksheet or a printable, I, you know, tear it out of the book or pull it out of the binder, put all that together with a paper clip with his checklist on the top, and I hand that to him. And he puts that in his binder that he keeps. We take out the previous weeks and I have a place where I'm filing all of those so I can have all that for the end of the school year. And then at the end of the year, who knows, most of it will probably end up getting thrown away and I'll probably keep important pieces just for my records. But that's how we do it, and it works really well. So at the start of the week, when he starts his week, he knows exactly what he needs to do on what day, and he can get started. Because remember, I'm homeschooling him and my two daughters, one of whom is a kindergartner who needs a lot of support. So he can get started, he can work independently, and then he and I have little meetings throughout the day to check in and see how things are going. I clarify things that are confusing for him, or, you know, review his work and help him make, you know, correct things that need to be corrected. And it works out really well for us. So I'll put an image on the screen of what that checklist looks like for him and any other things that I think might be helpful to you guys. But all in all, I hope this video has been helpful. Y'all cut me some slack. Like I said, it's my first one, so I know the production quality is not gonna be everything. Neither will the presenter quality, but hopefully if it provides a resource that's helpful, then I'm okay with that. But if you feel like content like this will be helpful for you in the future, then of course, like and subscribe, help a sister out. The next one's coming will probably be the low and no cost resources I use for my second grader and also for my kindergartner. And so I'm excited to share those too. But that's it for me today. Thank you guys.